My presentation for today covers all the valuable lessons I learned week after week in this class. First, I will discuss the dangerous and common medical mistakes I learned in week 1. Second, I will briefly discuss my strengths and weaknesses and things I learned about myself in week 2. Third, I will discuss how the scenario in week 3 teaches me the concept of accountability. Fourth, I will discuss the insights I gained with my interview in week 4. And lastly, I'll share my plan on how to make myself an asset to my organization. So let's get started. In week 1 of this class, I learned about medication error or inappropriate use of medicines. These errors and inappropriate use can occur at any point in the process of medication ordering, transcribing, dispensing, administering, and even monitoring. We were asked to research a common error in the medical field that results in harm to or death in patients. One case of medication error I found is the case of Emily Jerry, who was given a fatal dose of sodium chloride in her IV bag that in just 3 days took her life. It's clear in this case that everything is an error of execution. I learned in this week's lesson that medication error is preventable. We must remember that as a professional working in a healthcare environment, patient safety is our number one priority. It is critical that we thoroughly analyze each process to see what could go wrong before the adverse event occurs. This is our responsibility to prevent harm, just like Pamela Mitchell states on her journal article titled Defining Patient Safety and Quality Care. She states that patient safety is defined as the prevention of harm to patients. And as a future healthcare manager, I realized in this week's lesson that part of my job is empowering every member of my team to take ownership of patient safety because this is necessary for providing excellent care. We also discussed in week 1 the importance of spelling in medical terminology. Accuracy in spelling as well as pronunciation is an absolute must in medical terminology. This class made me realize that it takes more than just memorization to learn medical terms. Words memorized without context are just that, words. I learned in this class the key to understanding medical terms and remembering them is to focus on their components, which are their prefixes, roots, and suffixes. In Week 2 is more of a reflection week. We were asked to reflect on our strengths and weaknesses. I was able to deeply reflect on my own characteristics and attributes, and I was able to pinpoint my personal strengths or the areas where I excel, and my personal weaknesses or the areas within me that needs improvement. I learned on this reflection week that personal strengths and weaknesses are part of who we are. My personal strengths are the areas where I excel and shine. These are my knowledge-based skills, transferable skills, and personal traits, while my personal weaknesses are in delegation, too direct, too detail-oriented, and I take too much responsibilities. These are the areas within me that needs improvement. I realized that I must continue to improve my personal strengths and strive to develop them. I also learned that I must embrace and accept and strive to overcome my weaknesses. Everything can be learned. Everything can be achieved. I can master all these. All I need is to focus and have that absolute determination. In week 3, we were given a medical scenario. The scenario revolves around accountability. In this week's scenario, I learned the concept of accountability. Kirsten Drake, author of the journal article titled What Does It Mean to Be Accountable, defined accountability as the obligation of an individual or organization to account for its activities, accept responsibility for them, and to disclose the result in a transparent manner. Accountability is critical in the field of healthcare. And to be able to create a culture of accountability, it starts with us. It has to start on a personal level. Of course, everyone in the organization must be involved, but as a future healthcare manager, it has to start with me. I must model behaviors and attitude that I want to see within the healthcare organization. This behavior and attitude should align with the organization's vision and mission. I also need to consistently communicate expectations so that the staff have a clear picture of their expectation. Celebrating success is also a must. Staff success must be celebrated and, most importantly, recognized. I realized in this week lesson that as we seek to create a culture of accountability in our organization, we must remember that everything starts with us. We have to walk the talk if we want our staff to follow the accountability path. Now we are on week 4. Week 4 is the most exciting week for me as I was able to interview a professional and gain valuable insights on their medical profession. In this week's interview, I was able to interview Miss Casey Peckham. She is an emergency room nurse who worked in Washington Regional Hospital Emergency Facility. She assists physicians and works with other nurses to treat people coming through hospital emergencies for a variety of reasons. From stroke to heart attack to vehicle accident to fractured bones, Nurse Casey has seen it all. What I learned so valuable with Nurse Casey is how she described herself not as a motivated individual, but a driven type of individual. I admire her driven attitude. She made me realize that a motivated individual is only mated for a short period of time, but a driven individual is an individual who makes everything a matter of habit. Working in healthcare can be one of the most rewarding career choices there is. But the path to get there is not easy, and once you're in it, every day will be a challenge. There will never be a dull day. So it's a must to make everything a habit. This is because habits are everything. Habits allows us to access a part of our brain that runs on relatively little gas. It can routinely make us feel grateful or joyful, or they can prompt us to pay attention and be mindful. Now we come to week 5, our last week. Week 5 is all about applying content, applying what we learned in our plans for making ourselves an asset in our medical organization. So I list the following steps I needed to take to become an asset to my company. 1 is exceed expectation. This means that I have to do my job well. The whole reason the company employs me is to perform in this job role, so I need to make sure I do it correctly and I do it well. 2nd is to maintain accountability. Accountability is all about follow-through. It's about me taking initiative and doing the right thing for the business. It's about taking responsibility for results and not assuming it's someone else's responsibility. When I demonstrate accountability, trust is formed, and when my company trusts me, I become an asset to them. 3rd is going the extra mile. I believe that in order to get noticed, doing the bare minimum is not enough. The people who get the furthest in their career are those who think outside the box and go the extra mile to ensure they do everything that they can to make the most out of every opportunity. As those who do more, learn more. That's what I really believe in. As those who do more, learn more. 4th is acquiring new skills. According to Hannah Morgan, author of the article titled Acquiring Professional Skills Can Make You a More Attractive Employee, she states that acquiring new professional skill is one of the best steps you can take to develop your career and maintain your marketability. Employers will always be looking for people with cutting-edge skills and knowledge, and it's up to me to make sure I have the skills employers are looking for. I have to be curious and continue to learn new and in-demand skills. This concludes my presentation for today. Thank you so much for watching.